Okay, students. First of all, let me explain to you few things that these are the formulas that I want you to remember because they will help you in your test 3 as well as your final exam. Okay, so as you can see, you need to remember few formulas. Number one is enterprise value. Enterprise value. Okay. So you remember when we calculate CF divided by R, this formula is called enterprise value. Okay, CF divided by R is called enterprise value. And we know that we used to calculate V is equal to, for instance, V levered is equal to V unlevered, okay, plus present value of interest tax shield if we have debt, or in other words, equity plus debt plus present value of interest tax shield. You remember that if you have any of the missing information, you can first calculate the V if the question gives you CF and R, or in other words, WACC, then you can calculate V, and then you can calculate any of the missing information that is required. So this is very important information that you need to remember, that if I ask you to calculate the value of enterprise value, so this is the formula that you should look for, the information that you should look for. Okay. In other words, if cash flow is not given, then we can also calculate this value through debt plus equity, the traditional way. If cash flow is not given, these informations are not given, the answer that we get using debt and equity and present value of interest tax shield will give us value or enterprise value. Okay, so so this is formula number one. So please remember this formula. This is very important. And number two is market value. In the market value, we calculate the market value. This is also called market capitalization. This is equal to price multiplied by share outstanding. Sometime we don't have this information, we are not given share outstanding, we are not given price, then what is the other way we can calculate the market value of equity or market capitalization? So this is another way where you can calculate enterprise value plus cash. In other words, enterprise value, I can also write it like that, CF divided by R plus cash. Okay, so it will give you the value of the equity. So market value or market capitalization is equal to, remember this formula, CF divided by R plus cash. In other words, this part is enterprise value plus cash. Okay, so the market value of equity, remember this formula. Okay. Next is for the dividend specific questions. This information is quite general. Okay, next question. There are a few things that you should remember when you do the dividend policy questions. Then you should remember a few things. Number one, when the market is perfect, we say that there are two types of company can distribute the cash in two forms. Number one, cash dividends. Okay, and then share repurchase. Okay, dividends, but in the form of share repurchase and cash dividend. So when it is a cash dividend, then current market price, mean price today, is not equal to the price after the dividend is paid. PT means after cash dividend is paid. Okay, so price today, price before, and price after the cash dividend payment are not equal. In other words, price cumulative mean when the price, this is the price before the payment of the dividend, and price X after the payment of cash dividend, they are not equal. Number one. This is number one. Okay. But if it is a share repurchase, similar situation, similar situation when it is a share repurchase. So it means the price before the dividends in the form of share repurchase is always equal to price after share repurchase. Okay, price before and after, it does not change. But remember, the market is perfect. In a perfect capital market, they should not change. In other words, price before, price after, it should not change. I'm just writing P cumulative, mean before the dividend decision, price X mean after the dividend decision. Okay. So then once the dividend is paid, there are two things. Number one, market value, mean market value of equity is not before the share repurchase is not equal to market value of equity after the, sorry, before the dividend payment in the form of cash dividend is not equal to market value of equity after the cash dividend. So they are not equal. In other words, the market value before the payment of cash is always higher than market value after the dividends paid. So in other words, after dividend decision, any decision, it could be share repurchase or cash dividend, the market value T, market value of the company will decrease. Okay, so in other words, MV0 mean before is always higher than after, before is always higher than after. So this is point number B. So this point is similar in both cases, but here point A is slightly different. Everything clear so far, students? Okay, okay, perfect. So the next point is that we need to calculate the price, because in the dividends chapter, the calculation of price is very important. Okay, so how do we calculate price? We have different formulas for the price. First of all, P is equal to D divided by R minus G. If dividend is not given, R is not given, G is not given, then we have some other alternative to calculate the price. So that is market value, in other words, market capitalization divided by share outstanding. Okay, so let me write it like this. Yeah, so this is price into share outstanding divided by share outstanding. Okay, it will give you the price. So market value divided by share outstanding will give you the price. Next, let's say some information of the market cap. So let's say this is formula number one. Formula number two is you will be given some information of D dividend R minus G. So you can use that to calculate price. Then there is another formula. Okay, so this is formula number one. This is formula number two. Then there is a formula number three. So I will ask you in the coming questions that which formula would be helpful in the estimation of price. So you need to remember. So let's say there is no information, you need to calculate price because MV is equal to price into share outstanding. Okay, so since let's say you are not given any information of market value, but share outstanding is given, so it means that you cannot calculate the price. So let's say, in other words, if information on the price is missing, we cannot calculate market value, right? So we cannot calculate market capitalization. So then what is the other alternative to calculate the market value? This is the one that I told you. It means that we should look for some information on cash flow divided by R plus cash. So it means that we can also calculate market capitalization or market value using this formula, using enterprise value. Okay, so in other words, we can also calculate price is equal to enterprise value plus cash divided by share outstanding. Okay, so this is equal to market value. market value divided by share outstanding. It will also give you the answer of price. Okay, so let's say if no dividend is given, no R, then we should look for this formula. If you don't find sufficient information for this part, then there must be some other information that you should look for, that is EV plus cash. So for cash should be given or cash flow should be given to calculate market value. Sorry, to calculate market value and then price. Everything clear so far, students? Okay, perfect. So next is, last point is, when the market is imperfect, then these two assumptions, A, that price before and after are not equal when it is cash dividend, and price before and after are equal for the share repurchase, but it only happens when there are no taxes. Okay, no taxes. But if there are taxes, then in both cases they are not equal. Okay, so if there are taxes, so it means this is not equal to, previously share repurchase was equal, but now it will also not be equal to before and after. So this is the thing that you need to remember. Okay, so let me just minimize it a little bit so that you take the picture. You can take the screenshot in case if you want. You can save it and just say yes in the chat box when you are done. Okay. Okay, thank you. Next, let's get to our questions. So I will keep coming to the formulas when we will do the questions. So you should remember that. Okay. Okay, thank you. So I think everybody is done. Perfect. Now let me get back to our tutorial questions. Okay. So let's see our question number one. Question number one says that EJH has a market capitalization of 1 billion. So it means this is MV. MV market capitalization is MV 0 is equal to, mean currently is 1 billion and 20 million share outstanding. Share outstanding 20 million. So this is the current situation, but let's see what is the company's dividend policy. The company plans to distribute 100 million through an open market repurchase. So it means that company is not going for the cash dividend. Company is doing what? Share repurchase. Okay, this is what company is doing. So we are going to look for this part, and we know that when it is share repurchase, price 0 is always equal to price T. In other words, price cumulative is always equal to price X. In other words, market value after T is always higher than, so 0 is always higher than market value of T. This is we know. Okay, so you should get all of these concepts in mind when you see that it is a share repurchase. Okay, but it only happens when there are no taxes. So the information should be given that there are no taxes. Okay, so the company is planning to distribute 100 million through an open market repurchase. Assume perfect capital market. Okay, so it means this information is now given to you. Okay. So the question part A says, what will the price per share of EJH be right before the share repurchase? So it means before making the decision, before making the share repurchase decision, what is the price? So it's a very simple case. So I told you what is the price. Price is always equal to market value divided by share outstanding. We need to see whether we have this information. Yes, we have that, because this 1 billion is given, share outstanding is given. We don't need to look for another formula. So we will get our information answer from because this information is given, so we don't need to go for D divided by R minus G or whatever. So our first part is done. So this is the current market price. So current market price is $50. So it means that this is the price, $50. So dollar PT should also be 50, right? Let's see if we get 50 or not. So how many shares the company will buy at this price? So first of all, it's a very easy case. How many shares can we buy? Mean how much cash is being distributed at this price, and at this cash, how many shares we can buy? 2 million. So it means at a price of 50, when the company distribute 100 million, so company can buy back how many shares? 2 million. Okay, so how many total do we have? We have 20 million. 20 million total shares, 2 million we bought back. So how many remaining are there? 18 million. Okay, so let's see that. How many shares will be repurchased? 2 million. What will the price per share of EJH be right after the share repurchase? So it means we know that the price should be 50, but let's say we need to calculate that. Okay, so after the share repurchase, what is happening? Number of remaining shares are equal to total shares minus the shares that we bought back. How many number of shares are remaining? 18 million. Okay, so share price after the share repurchase is equal to the remaining market value divided by share outstanding. So remember that the price T is equal to market value T divided by share outstanding at time T, right? Previously this was price 0, market value at time 0, and share outstanding at time 0, right? Before, but after I'm just using T, right? After T mean after the share purchase. So remember that MVT mean after the share repurchase is always equal to MV0 minus cash. Okay, so this is the thing that you should remember. Previous market value minus the cash the company has distributed. So that is equal to 1 billion minus this is MV0 minus cash divided by SHOT, share outstanding at T. The answer is 50. Okay, as you can see, because theoretically we knew that the answer will be 50 because this is the thing that we know, right? P0 should be equal to PT 50-50, right? And this is the answer we knew, but the question required the calculation, so you do that. But in case if the question is asking you to answer it theoretically, then you should not do the calculation. But if the questions asks you to calculate using the calculations, then you should do the calculations. Any questions so far, students? Okay, so you can stop me when we have questions. Okay. Okay, so now let's get to our second question. Oh, this is, yeah. Okay, so by the way, this net sum corporation question was part of your final exam last time. Okay, so this question, I had given this question. So similar questions you can expect in your exam. Okay, so net sum corporation has 250 million of excess cash. So cash is given, so 250. The firm has no debt and 500 million share outstanding with current market price of 15 per share. Share outstanding is given, market price is given, so it means we can calculate market value, no issues. Okay, what is the, this is the current price, this is the current information, but we haven't yet uh, come to know about the dividend policy of the company. So what is the dividend policy of the company? Okay, the company board has decided to pay out this cash of 250 as one-time dividend. In the previous question, it was share repurchase, but here in this question, the company is saying that it will be cash dividend. Okay, so when it is cash dividend, straight away in your mind, what things should come in your mind? So that the P0 is not equal to PT. So this is the thing that you should remember when it is cash dividend, but it is so, but then you will say, sir, with or without taxes? So with or without taxes, this should be the case. Okay. Or in other words, price cumulative mean before the dividend payment is not equal to price X. Okay. May I ask you a question whether price cumulative or price X will be higher? Which one will be higher, price cumulative or price X? Which price should be higher? Yes, very good. Because price cumulative contains the dividend, so it should be higher than price X. So in other words, price X is equal to price cumulative minus dividend. Because it is a price, so it should also be, it is for one share, so this dividend should also be dividend per share. Okay, so this dividend does not mean the total cash. So we should also, because this is price of each share, so we should also calculate the dividend of each share. So in other words, dividend per share, which is equal to dividends, total dividends divided by share outstanding. So once we get this, then we can calculate that, because this is for one each year. This should also be for each year. If you see in this question, the company is dividing 250 million as total dividend. Okay, so we need to calculate dividend per share. So this is dividend per share is equal to X is cash divided by share outstanding. So the answer is 250 divided by 500 million. The answer is 0.50 per share. So this is DPS. So what is the PEX? PEX is always equal to price cumulative minus dividend per share is equal to 14.50. So as we can see, price cumulative is higher than price X. Okay, so this is the first part. This is the first part. Okay, so now the question is saying that if the management is deciding to do one-time share repurchase, so instead of dividends payout, if the company is deciding the share repurchase, instead of cash dividend, if the company is deciding one-time share repurchase in a perfect capital market, okay, this is very important. What is the price of the share once the repurchase is complete? So what should be the answer, students, if I ask you? Even if we don't solve that, if you want to take the help. Anyone? Very good. We know that this is always equal to the previous price. If it is share repurchase, so price 0 is always equal to price T. In other words, price cumulative is always equal to price X. X mean not specific to cash dividend, mean I'm saying I'm referring it as after. Okay, so since P naught is 15, so the answers for the PT should also be equal to 15. But let's say if we want to calculate that, so before actually I already had calculated that, so just to save time. Okay, so how much is the excess cash the company wants to distribute is 250. Okay, and the current market price is 15. So how many shares can we buy with this price? At this price, 250 divided by 15, 16.67. So these are the number of shares we can buy. So how many shares are left? So 500 are the total number of shares, 16.67 we will buy, and how many are remaining? 483.33. Okay, so what is the MV? So price after the share repurchase is equal to MVT divided by share outstanding at T. MVT is always equal to MV0 minus cash divided by SHOT. Okay, so MVT, how do we get it? So MVT is always equal to, first we need to calculate MV, price into share outstanding, 15 into 500, 7,500. MVT is equal to MV0 minus the cash that we distributed, 250. So this is the MVT. Okay, divided by the remaining number of shares will give you the answer. So as you can see, the price before and the price after, they are always equal when there are no taxes. Okay, clear so far, students? Okay, so now let's get to our third question. The H&H Corporation will pay a constant dividend of $2 per share. Okay, so as you see in this question, some dividend information is given. So it means that you may go some traditional way of calculating the price. So instead of share outstanding, you might go through P is equal to D divided by R minus C. But let's see, okay. A dividend of $2 per share per year in perpetuity means constant. This is not changing. Assume it means that this $2 per share is every year for forever. So this is constant, and growth, in other words, is 0, right? Assume all investors, growth is 0 means every year the company is paying 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So there is no difference between 2 and 2. So growth is 0, right? So all investors, assume all investors pay a 20% tax on dividends, and there is no capital gain tax. In other words, there is taxation on cash dividend, but there is no taxation when the company is doing share repurchase. Okay, so market is perfect. Market is perfect for the capital, for the share repurchase, but it is imperfect when the company is paying the taxes on the cash dividend. Okay, assume all investors pay a 20% tax. Please listen it again. Assume all investors, they pay a 20% tax on dividends, mean cash dividends, and there is no capital gain tax, mean when if the company wants to do the share repurchase, there are no taxes. Why do we need this information? Because if we know the price, before and after, and if there are no taxes, and if the company does the share repurchase, then P should be equal to PT. That is why this information is very important. Okay, otherwise, if there are taxes on the share repurchase as well, then they should not be equal. So then we have to do some more calculations. But if there are no taxes, then this is a very straightforward case. If we are able to get this, then then we can assume that this will also be equal to PT. Okay, so this will happen in this question. that there are no taxes on the capital gain, but there are taxes on cash dividend. The cost of capital for investing in H&H stock is 12%. This is R. Okay, so R is given, dividend is given, so it means that we can calculate the price. We can calculate the price of the stock using dividend discount model. Excuse me. Okay, so in other words, this is happening like this. The tax rate is 20%. 20% tax. Okay, so this is a company. Let me draw it for you. This is a company. Company has, and this is an investor. Investor is requiring 12% from the company, and company is paying $2 to this shareholder. So what is in the inventory of this shareholder? Dividend is equal to $2. The information R is equal to 12%. Okay, but there is a tax. There is a sort of tax. When this investor will receive $2, he has to pay some tax. Okay, so this dividend will be income for him. So when he will receive $2, he is going to pay some tax. Okay, so how much is the tax rate? 20%. So it means that when he is going to receive $2, he has to pay 20% on as the tax rate. So the answer is, what is the 20% of 2? It is 0.4, right? Yeah, this is 0.4. So he will pay that as a tax payment. So how much is the remaining one? Remaining is 2 minus 0.4 is equal to 1.96. In other words, we can also write it like this. D is equal to D after tax. Okay, so D after tax is equal to 1 minus tax rate. Okay, tax rate is 0.20, the remaining is 80, so answer would be 1.9, sorry, 1.6, not 96, my bad, 1.6. So this is 1.6. Okay, so this is the after paying the dividend. In other words, if I put it, what is the price? So price should be equal to D divided by R. But in this case, since the investor is paying tax, so it will be D1 minus tax divided by R. Okay, so this will give us the answer of the price. Okay, so same thing is done here. So after tax cash flow mean D1 minus tax on the dividend. Answer is 1.6. So what is the price? After tax cash flow divided by cost of capital. In other words, D1 minus tax divided by R. So it is going to give you the answer of 13.13. Okay. So this is the price of the share after paying the tax. So this is the current price or the price of the share. What is the price of share of H&H stock? This is the price. Okay. If I ask you what is the price if there was no dividend, can you calculate that? $2 if there was no taxes. So we will use a very simple formula. We will use D divided by R. In other words, $2 divided by 0.12. Can you get me the answer, please? Yes, very good. Thank you. So this is 16.67. So it means that if there is no tax, this would have been the price of the stock today. Okay, previously we used to calculate it like market value divided by share outstanding, but since this information is not given, so we are using this approach. Okay, so 16.67 should have been the price if there was no dividend. Okay, so but since it's a tax is there, so this is the price. Now let's see the question. Assume that the management makes a surprise announcement that H&H will no longer pay dividends, okay, but will use the cash to repurchase stock instead. What is the price of a share of a H&H stock now? Okay, so as we remember that there is no tax in this question, there is no tax on the share repurchase, we just learned, right? So then we need to calculate uh, the price. Okay, we need to calculate the price. The question is asking us what is the price of a share of H&H stock now. So how can we calculate the price of a stock now? There are two ways. Number one, the first way is that we should be given market value divided by share outstanding. You are saying, sir, there is no information for this one. Then I say, then what else is given? There is no excess cash given, no nothing is given, right? There is no information is like we can calculate market value through enterprise value plus cash divided by share outstanding. Since this information is also not given, then how can we calculate the price of the stock now? But we know one thing, that when there are no taxes, whatever is the price, so it means that we can take the help of the dividend formula, right? Help of dividend formula, that is D divided by R, because but we will use it without taxes because there are no taxes. So it means that if we use it without taxes, so it will give us the current price. So current price was 16.67. I calculated that. You calculated that actually just now, 16.67. So this is the price if the company is doing the share repurchase. Simple. If the company is doing the dividend payments, 13.13, but if it is share repurchase, this would be the answer. But since we had no information of market value, we cannot calculate the remaining number of shares outstanding, or the question is asking you for the stock now. So this is the only formula that we are left with. So we can calculate the answer through this formula. Okay, $2 divided by 12%. So since the tax rate of the repurchase is 0, the stock price would be the same as if the company, if the firm paid out the dividend and dividends were not taxed. So it means that whatever is the price here would be the price before the share repurchase. Okay, and if there are no taxes, this would also be the answer for the after share repurchase. Okay. Next question is, assume perfect capital market. When you learn this, you should be happy because sometimes it's very easy to answer the questions when it is a perfect capital market. The K industry currently has 1 million invested in short-term securities paying 7%. Okay, and it pays out the interest payment on these securities as dividends. The board is considering selling the treasury securities and paying out the proceed as one-time dividend payment. Okay, mean cash dividend. So what is happening, that the question is telling you that you had invested 100 million somewhere and you were getting 7%. So now you want to sell this 100 million, and whatever are the proceeds, you are going to distribute that as one-time dividend. Okay, so it means whatever are the proceed, 100 million, you are going to sell it, you will be distribute as one-time cash dividend. Okay, so so let's see what is the question asking. If the board went ahead with this plan, mean cash dividend, what would happen to the value of the K stock upon announcement of a change in policy? So previously, the company has just announced. Please remember that announcement has no effect. Announcement has no effect when the market is perfect. Okay. So announcement has no effect on the stock price if the market is perfect capital market. But if the market is not perfect, mean there is information asymmetry, then the announcement will have some effect. Okay, so whatever is the price, because there is no way we can calculate the price because share outstanding are not given, excess cash is not given, cash flow is not given, dividend is not given, we cannot calculate the price. Can we? No, we cannot calculate the price. There is no information in this question where we can use it to calculate it, the price. So price cannot be calculated from this question, number one. Number two, announcement. Making an announcement has no effect on the price of a share when the market is perfect. Why? Because in a perfect capital market, all the participants, let's say all of these people, they have equal information. Whatever is the company is making an announcement, all of these people, they will get this information. So it means it is not possible that this investor has not received this information. Everybody will receive the same level of information. So this is a perfect capital market. So when everybody is receiving the same information, in other words, they are reacting to the information the similar way, right? If, for instance, this investor has not received any information, so it means that his reaction when the company will pay the dividend will be different to the people who had already received this information. Okay, so that is why when the market is perfect capital market, every investor has the same level of information, and when they have the same level of information, there is no price mispricing. Okay, so everyone has the similar price, so no effect on the change in price. Okay, so the value of the company will remain the same upon announcement. Okay, what would happen to the value of a K stock on the X dividend date of one-time dividend? So may I ask you a question? When the company will distribute the 100 billion, okay, so you know that the P cumulative is always higher than the PX, right? The question is asking you what will happen to the X dividend date, mean when the company will pay. So what will happen to the price? May I ask you what will happen to the price? Will it increase, decrease, or what? Or will remain the constant? When the company distributes 100 million as cash dividend, will the price after the cash distribution will increase or decrease? In other words, price X, what will happen to price X? Anyone? It will always decrease. Very good. It will decrease by the same amount the company has distributed the cash. Since we have cash, but we don't have share outstanding. So that is why we cannot calculate dividend per share, but we can say that overall it will decrease by the amount that the company has distributed, that is 100 million. Okay, so that is a very simple case. Given this price reaction, will this decision benefit investors? In the perfect capital market, this is very important. In the perfect capital market, the investor is better off in both of these policies. If the company does pay or does not pay the dividend, So investors' wealth will not change, it will remain the same. Okay, so this is the answer. Last question is we will use a formula that I told you to get the answer. Omicron Technology has 40 million in excess cash and has no debt. We are not worried. The firm expects to generate additional free cash flow of 32 million per year in the subsequent years and will pay out these future free cash flow as regular dividends. So this is cash flow. Okay, so now you're getting it because we know that market value, we can also calculate market value through CEF divided by R plus cash. So it means that in the future, maybe we may require this formula. Okay, so this is called the enterprise value plus cash. Okay, but to calculate the enterprise value, there should be some R given. So let's see if R is given. Omicron's unlevered cost of capital is 9%. Very good, because there is no debt. There is no debt, so the cost of capital is always unlevered. So R is also given. R is 9%, and there are 8 million share outstanding. Currently, there are 8 million share outstanding. So this is the situation of the company. Now, what is the dividend policy? The company's board is meeting to decide whether to pay out its 40 million of this excess cash as special dividend, mean cash dividend, or to use it to repurchase shares of the firm stock. The company is deciding between paying cash dividend or share repurchase. Assume that the company uses the entire 40 million to use it for share repurchase. Calculate the number of shares following the share repurchase. So we need to calculate the number of shares after the share repurchase. Okay, so that is very easy to calculate. So first of all, for the share repurchase, what is the formula? This is the question. The question is asking that how many number of shares, remaining number of shares that are left after the share repurchase. So how many currently do we have? We have 8 million share outstanding. How many? We have 8 million. Okay, so it means the share repurchase, how many can we buy with 40 million of excess cash divided by price. Okay, so how many shares we can buy? Are we given any information on the price? Can you find the information on price? No. So there is no information of price. So it means that we have to calculate the price, right? So it means that we need to calculate price. So price is equal to market value divided by share outstanding. Okay, so share outstanding currently we have 8 million, but market value is equal to price into share outstanding. Share outstanding 8 million again, but we don't have the price, so it means that we cannot calculate market value. Okay, so what is the alternative way? We can calculate the market value is equal to enterprise value plus cash. Okay, so this is the formula that we can use. In other words, enterprise value is equal to CF divided by R plus cash. Are we given cash flow? Yes, we are given cash flow. That is 32 million. Are we given R? Yes, we are given R. That is 9%. The answer is 355.56. This is enterprise value. What is the market value? Simply add the cash. So this is market value. Okay, so this is market value. So we will use the market value here. Okay, so again, I'm just using it back. We will calculate the market, use the market value here. Okay, once we get the market value, we can calculate the price. and then you will use the price here to get the remaining number of shares. Okay, so let's do that. So market value is given. So market value divided by share outstanding. So this is the price. Okay, at this price and at this number, with this number of cash, how many shares we can buy? We can buy 0.809 million shares. So this is the number, these are the number of shares we can buy at this price. So how many already we have? We have 8 million share outstanding. Okay, and these are the number of shares that we bought back. And here, this is the answer, the remaining number of shares. Okay, so this is the answer that you need to calculate. Okay, any question? Okay, may I ask you something? If I ask you what is the price after share repurchase? Okay, if I ask you what is the price after share repurchase, so what should I write? So I should write price. The formula of price is always equal to market value. Since it is after, so I'm using T. After share repurchase, share holding, share outstanding after. So this is, I can do that. MVT is always equal to MV0 minus cash, okay, divided by SHOT. What is MV0 mean? Currently, what is the market value? So this is the market value, right? So this is 395.56 minus 40 divided by 7.191. So is the answer similar or different, students? Is the answer same or not? Can you calculate? Okay. Yeah. So if the question asks you what is the price after the share repurchase, we know that theoretically we know that, but if the question asks you calculate that, then you have to do that. Okay. So